researchers, like I said, have shown that really at the end of the day, the lack of a father figure really brings about a lot of these issues. And that is why, if we look at it, what we are advocating is simply a better environment for the child.
Hello and welcome to the Fathers' Rights Podcast. In this episode, I'll introduce you to the Fathers' Rights Association of Malaysia. But first, if you're a father who is going through a separation or a divorce, and you're seeking more parenting access and responsibilities, this is a space for you to get more support and information. To find out more about the vision and mission of the Fathers' Rights Association of Malaysia, I'll be speaking with Malcolm Fernnadez, President of the Fathers' Rights Association of Malaysia, and Sheikh, Honorary Secretary of the Fathers' Rights Association of Malaysia. Welcome to the podcast, guys.
Hi, Kevin.
Due to ongoing custody cases, Malcolm and Fakeigh are unable to share certain details. But very briefly, do tell us a bit about yourself and your situation. Let's start with Malcolm.
Well, Kevin, at the moment we are in court, and what I have is, I don't have custody. I have visitation rights every alternate weekend, Saturday 10 a.m. till Sunday 7 p.m. and holidays, half of all holidays.
And your children is just one boy, right?
Just a boy who's turning 9 in December.
What about you, Fakeigh? Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I have 6 kids altogether. 4 with me now with my current wife, and 2 is from my previous marriage. And 2014 was my case for child custody, and it's still ongoing. I lost the interim custody 6 years ago, and I got the visitation right. I can pick up my kids every alternate weeks, but it only lasts for first 3 years, and for the past 4 years my 2 kids don't want to come back to me.
Now, interestingly, the Fathers' Rights Association of Malaysia, or FRAM, started out from a WhatsApp group by Malcolm. Tell us about the origins of that.
Kevin, the WhatsApp group started off at a point when I was going through a very low time emotionally, and I connected with another father who was equally going through a very bad emotional trauma, and he was also involved in a custody battle. And we decided to connect and chat and try to give each other some emotional support. And from there, we connected with other fathers, and I started to talk, and I then started to invite them to this WhatsApp group. It was started with 2, and right till a couple of months ago, we've had fathers from all around Malaysia, from Penang right up to Johor and Pahang and Negeri Sembilan and all this. So it's been fantastic, because we've been able to connect with a lot of fathers who are going through a same issue, and some of course in a worse off position. So that is how the WhatsApp group, it started off as more of a emotional support to boost their morals and stuff like that. So it's been good, because we've started to be referred to by professionals, and in fact even lawyers refer their clients to us. So I think the formula must really be good.
From that WhatsApp group, it turned into an association. Fakeigh, why did you join the group, and what prompted you to initiate an association?
I met a friend, Manas, where he's also a co-founder of the association now. He told me about this group chat of fathers, support group. So I was a bit reluctant at first, because I already give up, basically, having after 7.5 years in the court, in and out, and not meeting my kids for 4 years. I basically give up already. But I thought I'd just give it a try. So I went in, Malcolm and a couple of guys welcomed me, all that. Then I started to think that, hey, this can be a good idea, that maybe I can do something about this. And I had a chat with Malcolm and Anas, and I told them that, hey, let's do a proper association. I have experience in setting up associations, and I advocate a few things in Malaysia. So I think there are many fathers out there that we need to reach out, and if I can't save my self, at least we can all together help and guide fathers out there, as a proper association, not just a group chat. So we all agree, and we got 7 committee members from 7 different states, and we formed a national association for fathers' rights. And the rest is history. And we just got it last month anyway, last May.
Well, congratulations. So this association is in its infancy, well, about a couple of months old. Malcolm, tell us about the origins of the fathers' rights movements overseas and here in Malaysia.
Fathers' rights movement started way back in the 1960s and it gained momentum in 1974. But the fathers' rights movement in the US have been amazingly vocal. In fact, they have brought about changes in a number of states in the US, whereby they have passed bills which gives shared parenting to both parents. And I suppose from the fathers' rights movement in the US, it has mushroomed to various other countries. You've of course got various other fathers' rights movements and groups like Fathers for Justice, Fathers Need Children, and stuff like that. It always invariably advocates just one very simple issue, and that is giving fathers equal opportunity when it comes to the child or the children, and not treating children as a tool or a pawn. And I think it works out really wonderfully when it comes to the child's emotional well-being. So coming back to Malaysia, we have an act which was passed in 1976, and it is an archaic act. It needs to be reformed and to bring about these changes that are happening all over the world. It's not, like I said, it's not just in the US. You've got it in the UK, you've got it in Australia, you've got it in various other countries. And the amazing thing about shared parenting, which is something which a lot of Malaysians don't seem to want to know, is that it really reduces high conflict divorce cases. You've taken out the issue of child custody out of the whole equation, and the spouses really don't have to put the child in such a situation. You don't really have to have a tug of war, so to speak. When it comes to children, we always say the best interest, and the reason why these reforms have happened is simply because they have actually done research. The psychological literature now favors shared parenting. And in fact, a lot of these countries don't use the word custody anymore, because I think that is, like I've always said in all my other talks, it is really demeaning on the child. You're treating the child as a property. So a lot of countries have moved away from joint or shared custody. They've moved to more modern, more nicer words actually, such as shared parenting and parental responsibility, which really is a step forward. And I really think what we are trying to do is to advocate and bring about change in Malaysia.
Yes, hopefully we can see much change in the near future. Now, Fakeigh, tell us about the time you had to surrender your kids, and how difficult was that for you or for your children?
I filed in the child custody at 2014. Reason being because when I left my wife, the kids are with me. Both kids are with me. After a year passed, after giving my ex-wife the access weekly, sometimes a few days in a week, we went on for 1 year. After a year, she did not return back my daughter. So that's when I filed 2014. After about a year, didn't see my kid. About 6 months, I applied for interim because I know the child custody will take some time. So when I applied for interim, hoping that I can see my daughter, what happened in the court really shocked me, that the judge asked me to surrender my son that was staying with me all this while to my ex-wife. And I have to surrender my kid, my son, for the benefit of me getting to see my daughter on alternate weeks. And I went back home to tell my son that, actually asked me what happened, because he knows the case. So he said, are we going to see Namira? Are we going to see his sister? I said, no, actually, I am going to see her, but you have to go to stay with mommy. And the look on his face is so shocking and sad at the same time. And he said, no, why like this? I mean, I thought you're just gonna go and get Mira to come back here. And why must I have to leave you? I want to take care of you. I said, yeah, but that's how the court instruct me. Then he asked me, can't you do anything? Because you're not supposed to go there and then come back here telling me that I have to go to mommy and leave you. And that's the time that in my whole life I feel so useless. and I can't say anything or do anything. And the only thing I can think of saying to my son that time is that I need you to be the man of the house, in mommy's house. I'm not there. Your sister is alone with mommy, and I want you to take care of your mommy and your sister. So after hours of crying and eyes were swelling and everything, the next day when I have to send him to his mother, and that was the hardest thing that I need to do. I need to do it because it's a court order. I can't tell you how I feel that time, but how I wish it not happen lah.
Yeah, I can't imagine the emotions at that point, especially for a young boy. Malcolm, what is the focus of the Fathers' Rights Association of Malaysia?
The primary focus when it comes to fathers' rights, the ultimate beneficiary is always the child. We are seeking for shared parenting because, once again, the beneficiary to that would be the child. Now, the reason why we advocate for shared parenting is simply because, like what I have always said, if we do the research, the sciences are all there, psychologists, and there are researchers done all over the world which have shown that children that come from shared parenting environments fares better emotionally. There are lesser problems of not doing well in school. Socially, they fare better. There are no drug-related issues. Now, as opposed to children that come from situations where there's no equal access. So when you have a child who rarely sees the father, or in normal cases, alternate weekends and stuff like that, a lot of times this child or these children, they do suffer emotionally, especially when they are forcefully taken away from a particular environment. Now, how do these kids really show their emotions? Most of the time, there's no outlets. I don't think we are in a position whereby we see the signs. So that's how you have premarital, teenage pregnancy. You've got children getting into gangsterism, socially negative behaviors, and all of that. And researchers, like I said, have shown that really at the end of the day, the lack of a father figure really brings about a lot of these issues. And that is why, if we look at it, what we are advocating is simply a better environment for the child, a shared parenting where the child gets to really spend time with both parents. Now, and in that way, they tend to really do very well. So it reduces all these issues. It eliminates all these issues, and you won't have issues like parental alienation, all that. And when you have that, you put the child in a very difficult place. When the child is constantly told that his father is useless, his father's evil, the father's bad, and stuff like that, and that destroys the child. You may win your case, but you tend to lose your child. When I say lose a child in the sense of emotional aspect, and that is really damaging. It damages a child in the long run. And hence why we've decided that we need to do this. The focal point will never ever change. It is for the child, and that will always be the war cry, so to speak. It is not an issue where fathers here are trying to be one up. It is for the child, and sometimes we just need to be honest in this. And so that is how the Fathers' Rights Association of Malaysia really came about, and that is essentially our goal for the child always.
Fakeigh, your custody case has been ongoing for 7 years. What was it like for you, and how important is it to get a faster settlement?
Like I described the incident that happened, where I cannot answer my son when he asked me, can I do anything? I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to go to mommy's house. I want to stay with you. So let's say the court case happened very fast. Yeah. Let's say a year, where within the first 3 years, I still have my alternate visits. I believe very strongly that if that would be the case within 1 year or even 2 years, I know for sure that when the judge asks my son, if he needs to ask my son, where will you want to stay, more with your mom or your dad, he will say me. I have that confidence. In fact, whoever who knows me and my son on our relationship since he was a baby all the way up to when he was like 9, 10 that time, all will know that we are more a friend than father and son relationship. So yeah, so if the court would have been faster in terms of whatever proceedings, however possible, can be fast, I know for sure my son and my daughter will choose me. Because even that time, whenever I want to send them back, they do not want to go back to their mother. They want to stay 1 more day or extra 2 more days, but the mother doesn't let. and the court doesn't allow, because I only got them 2 days in a month, 24 days in a year. Just to add on that, even to ask a kid to decide whether the kid wants to be staying with the mother or father, it's also not right. Hence why we don't want to put the pressure to the kid. Why must the kid decide whether you want to stay in either parent's house? The kid should feel that even though he or she knows that the parents are divorced, but if they have equal time in a month or any time, the kid might not even feel that the parents are divorced, because there's no fight. Just that the procedure, the process is as such that they have to stay 15 days here and 15 days there, but they won't be missing the parenting much, because you have equal time with both parents.
Malcolm, as we aim for shared parenting, what needs to be done?
It's two things. One is advocating in a social level to educate the public, and two is to seek reforms legislatively, to have a dialogue with all the stakeholders and to come to a consensus, which, let us be fair, you wouldn't have states in the US such as Kentucky, Missouri, and all of that who would pass such an act if it really didn't benefit the child. You would look at countries like Sweden. Once again, this is a country which has shared parenting. So the benefits are there. And what we need to do now is essentially bring forth to Malaysians about the damage that the system is really doing to the child. And this is advocating. This is showing everyone that the numbers of fathers who are in such a position, such a predicament, is at such a high figure, and it really ultimately destroys the child. If we see a child doing well in their studies, we say, well, that's a normal child. But really, if you really talk to the child, emotionally the child is suffering. There's so much of pain that children actually go through. So what is the Fathers' Rights Association of Malaysia's objective, and how do we intend to bring about such change? We are calling fathers all over who are in the same predicament, lost custody, or who don't get to see their kids, to come join us, and we really need to start reforms, and these reforms need to start immediately and very quickly, and we need to bring about legislative changes in this particular area.
All right, so this is the mission: to bring changes to achieve shared parenting for the benefit of the children. If this is a mission that you would like to be a part of, and I'm not just talking to the fathers who are separated, but anyone actually, even men or women, who can help us create awareness on this issue, then we like to invite you to join the Fathers' Rights Association of Malaysia. Malcolm, how does one get in touch with FRAM?
We have our Facebook page. You can always get in touch with us there. Contact either Fakeigh or me. I think Fakeigh is also in the process of setting up a website. So there are various ways in which you can contact us, and the easiest in which most fathers actually reach me and Fakeigh is via our handphone. I tell everyone that I've never really switched off my handphone except when I'm flying.
And Fakeigh, since the launch of FRAM, how has it been in creating exposure for the association?
Since we have publicized our association during Father's Day week, we got a local radio station that covers us. We got a lot of calls, people who actually went to our Facebook and got the number there, and then WhatsApp me, WhatsApp Malcolm, and we got calls at we in the morning also, and telling us that we are doing a good job. They need help. And it's nice for them to know that there is a support group among fathers who understand the situation, not just a friend who can give you some advice. So we are all in the same boat. Yeah, they can call us anytime.
All right, fantastic. So we are just getting started. This is the introduction to the Fathers' Rights Association of Malaysia. I'm sure we'll be hearing more from you, Fakeigh, and Malcolm. So in the meantime, if you want to support the Fathers' Rights Association of Malaysia, please do subscribe to this podcast. If you're watching it somewhere, do like it and share it with other people. Who knows, it might be beneficial, and they can also come and join us. So on that note, thank you very much to Sheikh Fakeigh and also Malcolm Fernnadez for joining us on this podcast.
Thank you. Bye.
In the next episode,
this is the greatest injustice, I think, to a child. This is too much of an imposition on a child. that is making them have to say things and do things to feed a system. Here, the system is a perpetrator, and nobody thinks of the legal system as a perpetrator to children.
All right, so you don't want to miss the next episode with Dr. Valerie Jakes. Now, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and leave a review. And we would very much appreciate it if you would share this podcast with your family and friends. Well, on behalf of Malcolm Fernnadez and Sheikh and myself, Kevin Francis, we wish you well, stay safe, and see you in the next episode. Bye.